Hi everyone, and welcome to your free Ornament Girl tutorial. My name is Kennedy, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make the Puppy Love ornament. This ornament was designed by Monica, and it makes an adorable Valentine's Day gift or decoration, or you could choose to make your puppy in the colors inspired by the real puppy that you love. Make sure you check out the link below the video to download your free printable supply list so that you can gather all of the supplies you'll need to make this ornament. A quick reminder before we get started, this tutorial, along with all Ornament Girl tutorials, is copyrighted and it's illegal to teach or distribute the pattern without our permission. If you have a friend that you think would love to make this ornament, be sure to send them the link to this video. This tutorial is going to be done a little differently because for the Puppy Love pattern, you can actually cover your heart-shaped foam in any ornament pattern that you want. For this ornament and the ornament I'll be making in this video, I used the Trinity Knot pattern. The Trinity Knot pattern is one of our premium Ornament Girl patterns, so if you don't already own this pattern, you can head over to our website and purchase that pattern. You're going to start by covering your foam in the Trinity Knot pattern or whichever pattern you choose to cover your heart, and then for the rest of the video, I'll show you how to turn your heart into this adorable little puppy. In order to complete this pattern, you'll need a soft foam heart. Mine is divided according to the heart covering tutorial in the Trinity Knot pattern. You'll also need fabric according to the pattern that you'll be using to cover your heart, 2 3x4-inch rectangles in the color that you want for your puppy's ears, and a few other embellishments and tools. Make sure you check out the link below the video to get your free printable supply list so that you can gather all of the correct quantities and measurements for your materials. Now we'll get started making your Puppy Love ornament. Now you'll start by covering your heart in the Trinity Knot ornament pattern. Like I mentioned, the Trinity Knot pattern is one of our premium Ornament Girl patterns, so make sure you pop over to the Trinity Knot pattern page on the Ornament Girls website and follow Monica's tutorial video for covering a heart-shaped foam with this pattern. You're only going to want to complete side 1 and side 2 and don't add the band yet. So I'll meet you back here once your ornament is covered on side 1 and side 2 and you have not yet added the band. Once you've covered the front and back of your heart in the Trinity Knot pattern or whatever ornament pattern you chose, we can now turn this heart into the Puppy Love ornament. So first you're going to need your rectangles of fabric that you're using to make the ears, and the ears on this ornament are sort of free form. They don't have to be perfect and they aren't a perfectly folded shape, so you don't have to worry about getting these too exact. You can have fun with it and make sure you play around with it until they look how you want them to look. My fabric is solid, but if yours has a pattern, you're going to hold your rectangle with the pattern side facing away from you and fold the top edge down by about 1/4 of an inch and crease the fold. And now you're going to place a pin just below the top folded edge, right near the center of the piece. And on your heart, you're going to flip this around so that the point is on the top. And now I'll give you some general guidance on where to place the bottom point of the ear, but you don't have to do this in the exact same spot as me. But I'll show you here. I'm going to move down from the tip of the heart by about 1/2 of an inch and then down along the heart by about 1 inch there. And I'm just going to pin my piece in place. And again, you can move these around if you make the ears and decide you want them in a different position. I'm going to move down 1/2 inch and then down a little more than 1 inch for this one. And you're going to pin that right in place. Now you're going to fold down your 2 sides to make a triangle, but we're not folding them straight down. We're moving them out to the sides a little bit to make this a nice wide triangle. So I'm folding my left edge down and scooting it outward, and then folding my right edge down and moving it outward. So now I have this wide triangle shape at the top, and then you're going to take the left and right sides of the piece and fold them inward to make this petal fold shape. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. You can play around with this and redo the ears as many times as you want to make them look how you want to look. But now to turn it into the puppy ear, you're just going to fold this up and over. So now we don't see any raw edges and pins from the front. We just see this loose sort of triangular or petal fold shape that we created, and the ear is secured into the foam. Now when you pin this, you're going to pin in a pin line along the equator, so right along the line between the two sides of the heart that we've been working with, and you can choose how much extra fabric you want standing up on the front of the ornament there. So I'm going to move the back edge of mine forward a little so that now I have this extra fabric at the front to make my ears stand up a little bit off of the ornament. And you can just keep playing with that until they look how you want them to look. Again, they're just sort of a loose shape there. And once your ear is in place, you're then going to secure it with a pin line along the equator. So I'm going to use about 4 pins along the back of this ear, pinning right along the equator, or the line between two sides in the heart. And we're not going to trim this yet in case we want to make any adjustments. Eventually we'll trim off that extra fabric, but we'll leave it in place just in case we want to change anything before we finalize our ornament. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. So with your rectangle, with the pattern side facing away from you, you're going to fold the top edge over by about 1/4 inch, pin just below the top folded edge right near the center of the piece. And now you want to pin this pretty much even with where you placed your other pins. So here's my first pin for my first ear. I'm just moving to the other side of the heart and placing that pretty much symmetrical with the other ear. Fold the left side down and move it outward. Fold the right side down and move it outward, and then fold both sides of the piece inward to make this petal fold shape. Just overlapping them a little bit, and then when you flip this backward, you can adjust the ear until it is standing up as much as you want it to. Now on this ornament, my ears are down a little lower than this one, so I'll just have to change the placement of the eyes a bit, but that's okay. Every puppy love ornament is going to be very unique and have its own little bit of character. So again, once you get this into the placement that you want it, you can secure it with a pin line along the equator, using about 4 pins right along the equator to hold that ear in place. And again, we'll wait to trim that off in case you decide you want to make any adjustments before finalizing your piece. And now we're going to add the puppy's little tongue at the bottom of the piece. To do this, you'll just need your 1.5 inch piece of ribbon. You're going to fold this in half, and if your ribbon has a pattern, you'll want the pattern side facing outward. And you're going to lay this with the front side facing you. You're going to lay this on the equator so that the raw edges are right along the equator and the folded edge is coming out toward the front of your ornament to create his little tongue sticking out. Right at the bottom center in the divot of the heart, you're going to pin that ribbon edge right along the equator. And now your puppy has a cute little tongue. I'm noticing that this ear is a lot more flat than the other one, so I'm going to unpin this and move my fabric forward a little bit so that I have a little bit more fabric coming toward the front of the ornament. And then repin that. And once you're happy with the placement of the ears, you can then trim off the excess fabric that's extending beyond the pin line into the back side of the ornament. Be very careful not to cut any of your other fabric pieces that are already placed on the ornament. And now to cover all of these raw edges and pins, we'll add a band around the ornament. To do this, you'll need your 1.5 by 12.5 inch strip of fabric. You're going to fold this in thirds, so you're going to hold it with the pattern side facing away from you and fold it in thirds so that the pattern side is facing out. Flip this over so that the raw edges are facing away from you, and at the bottom center divot of your ornament, centered right with that divot and covering up the raw edges of the tongue, you're going to pin this in place with 2 pins along the short raw edge. And now keeping your band centered with this equator, you're going to keep it folded in thirds and wrap it all the way around the outside of this ornament, covering the raw edges and pins. So my band is folded in thirds. I'm wrapping it upward, covering all the raw edges and pins showing around the edge of my ornament. And when you return to the bottom center of your ornament, covering all of those raw edges and pins as you go, we're going to create a folded edge to finish off your band nicely. So you can add a couple of pins just to hold this in place while we're working. I'm just pushing these in about halfway. And you can see how your band extends past the bottom center divot in the heart. You want to trim this so that it's only extending past that bottom center divot by about 1/2 inch. And now you're going to fold that 1/2 inch underneath itself so that the new folded edge sits right at the divot of the heart in the bottom center of your ornament, covering those first 2 pins that you placed and giving us a nice folded edge. And now we're going to hide our pins underneath the top layer of this band. So when you pin right here at the folded edge of your band, you're going to tuck your pin underneath the top layer of the band and pin down into the bottom layer. And then you can bring that top layer of fabric out and around so that your pin is now hidden. And we're going to do that one more time along the other edge. So right here at that fold we created, you're going to tuck your pin underneath the top layer and pin into the bottom layer and then cover it up with that top layer of fabric. Now you can remove those temporary pins. And now all that's left to do is add some embellishments to create your puppy's face. So I have my googly eyes here. Mine have adhesive on the back. If yours don't, you're gonna wanna get some glue or glue dots to add your eyes. I also have some little gemstone hearts and foam hearts here. So I'm going to decide if I want anything underneath my puppy's googly eye here. So I'm just gonna take a quick look through my hearts and decide. And I do have this little heart sticker that would make sort of a ring around my eye. So I think I'm going to add that. And you don't have to put any hearts around the eyes, or you could choose to add a button to make a little spot at the back of the eye. You can mix and match your embellishments for each puppy love ornament to make it look however you want it to look. And now I'm just going to add my 2 googly eyes to create the face of my pup. And now we need to add a nose. On my pink puppy love ornament, I added a foam nose and then colored it black. For this one, I'm going to see what a little pink gemstone heart looks like as his nose. And I think that is super cute. So I'm going to use that as its nose. And again, you can play around with these embellishments. So if you try one and you don't like how it looks, you can just take it off and add something different until you find the perfect embellishment for your puppy's face. And now all we're going to do is just add the little dots to the puppy's cheeks. So I'm just using a black straight pin with a black pearl bead, and I'm gonna add 3 little beads to each cheek on my puppy. And now you can replicate that on the other side of the heart. And if you want to add any additional embellishments to your puppy's ears, you can go ahead and do that as well. And just like that, you've finished your puppy love ornament. I hope you all really enjoyed making this puppy love ornament along with me. I think it's so fun how you can turn any heart ornament into this adorable little Valentine's puppy. For more free Ornament Girl tutorials, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Thanks so much for watching.